Well, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos is considering an unprecedented move, allowing states to use federal funds to buy firearms for teachers. Meanwhile, Westchester County confirming its first case of West Nile virus this year. Nightside's Nadia Galindo tells us what you can do to help prevent the virus from spreading.
Difference makers.
Yeah, we want to highlight people committing small acts of kindness with big effects on their community. Now, we begin with a White Plains couple who started down this road in the wake of 9/11 when they consciously chose not to hate, but to transform their pain and anger and instead become difference makers. And I'm Scott McGee, and not only are police talking, they're letting us inside the holding cell in the city jail where Raynette Turner was found dead earlier this week. News 12's Ty Milburn has the exclusive story you'll only see on 12. You're watching News 12. I'm Scott McGee, and the latest now on the prison break. Convicted killer and prison escapee David Sweat. He's not going to be going back to the upstate prison where he broke free. No, instead he could be coming to Sing Sing prison in Austining. Jackson Pollock, Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, Bodie the Goat. If you think one of those names doesn't belong on that list of famous painters, well, you would be wrong. Because Bodie lives in Albuquerque Botanical Garden in New Mexico, and it turns out he has a passion for painting. Now, people who don't like his work really get his goat, as a matter of fact. It's not just a hobby. The park's management says it's a way for him to exercise his brain. And now they're looking to auction off some of his better work. And look at it. It's fantastic. In fact, it's not bad deal. Bad deal. It's about $40 for a painting. Mr. Smalls, we had talked a little bit earlier before the show about the movement itself and the fact that it has a website, but you felt like that website doesn't really accurately describe what the movement is. Can you tell me what you feel like the Black Lives Matter movement represents? All right, there's a new attraction on Greenwood Lake we want to tell you about. Check out this pirate ship launched for the first time this afternoon. It is reportedly the first ever ship of its kind in the village. I feel like I should be doing this in a pirate voice.
Yes.
Local entrepreneurs and owners Jennifer Appleton and Mark Palmieri say they are hoping, there it is, to fix it up for private parties, dinners, and overnight stays. So far, the boat doesn't have a name, but its owners say they're open to suggestions.
Oh, you've owned that. I love it.
Now, if you've been worried about Meghan Markle and her dad since he's not going to be in town, I've got some great news. It turns out that the royal bride-to-be will walk herself down most of the aisle. Here's how it works. There's a lot of choreography here. Stay with me if you can. Markle will walk by herself during the beginning of the bridal procession. Then Prince Charles will join her once she reaches the section of the church where the royal guests are seated. Also, he won't actually give her away. He'll stand back as she then approaches Prince Harry. Did you get all that?
Yeah,
it's very complicated.
They'll swap
right.
and go back. Yeah.
I have those stories for you in just 1 second, but first we begin with some developing news. Good evening, everyone. I'm Scott McGee. All right, while we continue to follow that story, we're going to get back to our top story of the night. The lane shift on the Mario Cuomo Bridge has finally begun.
That's right. The second span of the bridge will be open to traffic throughout the night and into the morning.
Yeah, Nightside's Lisa Reyes in South Nyack with the very latest on this very big night. Lisa. At this point, thank you very much for that update, Lisa. Meanwhile, also celebrating that bridge opening, you may have seen her there in the video, Chappaqua resident and 2016 presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. All right, folks, and new on Nightside, a SUNY Binghamton student accused of killing another student is now changing his plea. Just a day after pleading not guilty, Michael Roque has admitted to his guilt in the killing of Joao Souza. Well, folks, a former cop admits to pretending to be an investor to steal the life savings of several victims.
Yeah, John Nemec pleading guilty today to grand larceny charges.
After Obama's speech, President Trump took a jab at the former president's speech. Well, a Hawthorne woman is just thankful to be alive following Thursday's storm, which caused a rather eerie sequence of devastation at her home. Check this out. Look at that car right there. The homeowner tells us around 6 o'clock last night, a lightning bolt struck a massive tree in her backyard. That caused an electrical current to travel through the metal fence right into her garage. The garage then caught fire, and you can see the garage, including the siding and what's inside, either destroyed or very heavily damaged, and so, as you saw earlier, was her new car. Now, she says despite the rather long cleanup process, she is just glad she was in another area of the home when that lightning struck.
Jeez,
Wow.
very
Powerful.
scary. Yeah, that could have had a very different ending.
Yes, so all things considered, lucky. I know a lot of damage and a lot of cleanup, but it could have been a whole lot worse when you're dealing with
Exactly.
lightning.
A lot of people don't realize you don't have to be hit by the bolt of lightning itself to
Correct.
be hit by lightning. You
Correct.
can be 100 feet away and still get killed being hit by that lightning. And that troubling story is where we begin tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Scott McGee.
And I'm Rachel Spots. Thank you for watching Nightside. The teen was missing for 2 weeks after her boyfriend allegedly abducted her.
Tonight, her family just happy that she is home. News 12's Michelle Brown has more from Yonkers. Well, Riot Police releasing some new exclusive video to News 12 of a man suspected of trying to break into a number of homes. Nightside's Lisa Reyes has more. Now, Westchester County traps and tests mosquitoes for West Nile virus every year. So far this year, 3 out of 199 batches have tested positive for that mosquito-borne illness. Last year, 3 people were diagnosed with that virus.
But it's going to hit them no matter what.
Yeah,
So
flooding there, beautiful here.
I just want to take a second I mean, this shot behind
Right.
us is
Beautiful sunset.
stunning right now. Look at that color.
But you know what?
Wow.
It's been bright sunshine until
Yeah.
just the last week or two at this time of night, and
I
now
know.
it's getting dark.
Oh, now
It's getting dark.
The sun going down. It's so.
it's a trade-off.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching News 12. I'm Scott McGee, and residents in Orange County say they are traumatized after hearing and seeing the aftermath of what they say was essentially the torture of cows. Neighbors of this farm on Purgatory Road in Hamptonburg say cows were slaughtered inhumanely Tuesday right in public view. The farm's owners allegedly used a machete, which experts say is not considered a humane device for slaughter under federal law. But local SPCA experts say the house belongs to a Muslim and the slaughter was done during the Islamic holiday of Eid al-Adha, when cow sacrifice is common. And President Trump continuing to contradict himself when it comes to the so-called hush payments that his former attorney Michael Cohen made to women who claimed they had affairs with him.
It's a golden unicycle.
I don't want that.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, the royal wedding giving us the bad lip reading treatment. This viral video dubs over some of the most memorable moments of the ceremony with the words reimagined.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta hold it together. But matching up their lips pretty well there. Bad lip readings have also been done for classic movies and even the presidential inauguration. It's really funny on the NFL.
Not for the Queen,
too.
though.
Oh, that is good. And good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Nightside. I'm Scott McGee.
And I'm Marissa Sarback. Rachel Spots has the night off. Now, this is really interesting. She was murdered more than 2 decades ago, and police know who did it. However, the victim's identity remains a mystery.
Has been for years. Tonight, Nightside's Lisa Reyes takes a closer look at how one determined detective is trying to bring closure to this woman's family, whoever and wherever they are. It's a story you'll see only on 12. Someone out there knows something. Now, if you may be able to identify this Jane Doe, you can please call the Yonkers Cold Case Unit at the number on your screen, 914-377-7731.
All right, well, plans to make 3D gun blueprints easily accessible online have been put on hold, at least for now.
Yeah, it would have allowed you to just print gun designs from home and build a potentially undetectable, untraceable firearm. Nightside Samantha Crawford has more. Thank you, Samantha. Now to some recent violence in Yonkers. Police say a man stabbed multiple times in the chest knew his attacker. Gregory Evans has just been arrested and accused of attempted murder.
All right, many people have been doing something very smart. They've been heading to local lakes and rivers as the temperatures rise. But first responders want to make sure that you and your family are safe.
Because it's going to get hotter out there. Nightside's Nadia Galindo shows us how they're preparing for the worst on the water while hoping for the best this summer. All right, folks, for the first time this summer, mosquitoes in Westchester have tested positive for West Nile virus. The county health department says those infected mosquitoes found in Yonkers, but mosquitoes fly, so keep that in mind. Officials reminding residents to use insect repellents and remove standing water if it rains. It doesn't take very much water at all for those mosquitoes to breed.
And I don't know if I'm imagining it, but the mosquitoes seem really bad this year.
They do seem really
Right?
bad. I think it goes along with all the humidity we've seen this summer.
Welcome back. Ossining Village Hall is now the first municipality in the state with gender-neutral bathrooms.
And Nightside's Laura Hayfleet takes us on a tour of the changes in a story you'll see first on 12. The Me Too movement allegedly empowering many local victims of sexual abuse to come forward. Officials at Pace University says its new Women's Justice Center is a lot busier than they thought it was going to be. All right, folks, forget the Hogwarts Express. A Metro card will soon be able to take you into the wizarding world of Harry Potter. The British Library's Harry Potter, A History of Magic is coming to Manhattan. The exhibit features rare books, manuscripts, and of course, magical objects. It celebrates the 20th anniversary of J.K. Rowling's first novel in the series, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. You can check out the exhibit at the New York Historical Society in October. And for more information on that, just head over to news12.com, click on the numbers and links section. And that troubling story is where we begin tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Scott McGee.
And I'm Rachel Spots. Thank you for watching Nightside. The teen was missing for 2 weeks after her boyfriend allegedly abducted her.
Tonight, her family just happy that she is home. News 12's Michelle Brown has more from Yonkers. Well, Riot Police releasing some new exclusive video to News 12 of a man suspected of trying to break into a number of homes. Nightside's Lisa Reyes has more. Now, Westchester County traps and tests mosquitoes for West Nile virus every year. So far this year, 3 out of 199 batches have tested positive for that mosquito-borne illness. Last year, 3 people were diagnosed with that virus.
But it's going to hit them no matter what.
Yeah,
So
flooding there, beautiful here.
I just want to take a second this shot behind
Right.
us is
Beautiful sunset.
stunning right now. Look at that color.
But you know what?
Wow.
It's been bright sunshine until
Yeah.
just the last week or two at this time of night, and
I
now
know.
it's getting dark.
Now
It's getting dark.
The sun goes down. It's so.
it's a trade-off.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching News 12. I'm Scott McGee, and residents in Orange County say they are traumatized after hearing and seeing the aftermath of what they say was essentially the torture of cows. Neighbors of this farm on Purgatory Road in Hamptonburg say cows were slaughtered inhumanely Tuesday right in public view. The farm's owners allegedly used a machete, which experts say is not considered a humane device for slaughter under federal law. But local SPCA experts say the house belongs to a Muslim and the slaughter was done during the Islamic holiday of Eid al-Adha, when cow sacrifice is common. And President Trump continuing to contradict himself when it comes to the so-called hush payments that his former attorney Michael Cohen made to women who claimed they had affairs with him. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching News 12. I'm Scott McGee. You know, the people who help make our communities better come from all walks of life, right? Well, today in our next installment of Difference Makers, we meet a little boy who's inspiring the people around him for a lot of reasons, but mostly because every time life tries to stop him, he keeps walking. Visit just about any first grade class, just about anywhere in America.
Okay, so now let's practice counting by
And it'll probably look and sound
twos. Who wants to come up and count by twos?
a lot like this one
I can count by 2.
at Smith Clove Elementary.
Set, go.
You can count on seeing kids, well, counting.
71, 72.
You can count on finding new and creative ways to clap.
What kind of clap do you want?
I want race car clap.
Race car clap.
But what I can almost guarantee you won't find anywhere else is meeting a kid like 6-year-old Ethan Chirichella
Gonna be a funny news now.
and his ever-present smile.
46, 48. Got this one. I'm gonna show my daddy this.
Yes, that smile has made Ethan famous here at Smith Clove, but to understand what makes him so special, we have to go back a few years.
Ethan has been through a lot since he was born.
Kelly Chirichella gave birth to Ethan and his twin sister Avery at just 27 weeks.
Initially, we didn't know if he would even survive.
In fact, one day, for 30 excruciating minutes, Ethan was in cardiac arrest.
At the time, they told us that there's a good chance he would never walk, he would never talk.
But his parents learned that day Ethan is a fighter.
I never gave up hope with the help of amazing doctors and therapists and, his determination.
I'm coming.
He's come so far and proved everybody wrong. He's an amazing kid.
Diagnosed with cerebral palsy, Ethan has had his challenges, but they have never been more than obstacles to overcome.
He never thinks I can't do something. If he wants to do it, he will do
Did we
it.
get to our day of the school? Yes, we did. Great job, Ethan.
His teacher, Vanessa Shares, has seen it all year.
And he never wants help. He doesn't want to hold your hand.
I'm walking.
He wants to be completely independent.
But there was one school tradition in particular on his mind, the 1-mile run.
So he was really excited for it, looking forward to the day.
Then came the day of the first grade mile run. 4 laps around this 400-meter track. There's no time involved, there's just one goal. You gotta finish.
I like to run.
He may like it, but it doesn't come easy.
He's in the final stretch of the race.
And so it wasn't long before the rest of his classmates finished, while Ethan was still, slowly, and yes, unsteadily,
He just fell, but got right back up.
working his way around the track.
I didn't want to stop.
And he didn't.
Every time I watch it, I still feel emotional. I'm so proud of him.
Pushed along by his own determination and eventually his own cheering section. His friends and even some high school kids saw what was happening and helped will him to the finish line.
I just got overwhelmed with emotion just at this level of support that everybody around him had for him, and that really, I think, helped him keep going.
I was really proud of Ethan because I knew it was hard for him to do stuff like that.
In the end, Ethan earned a trophy for that hard work, something he's understandably proud of. But he also earned something bigger than that.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Something that started well before he laced up his sneakers that day.
His will and want to succeed higher than he can imagine. It's just inspiring for everyone.
So you can count on Ethan to continue to smile his way through life, working harder than most to achieve his goals, while making a difference in the lives around him without trying at all.
He's been through a lot, and he has every right to say, I can't do something, but he never does.
All right, folks, that's a tough one to top. But if you know a difference maker like that in your community, please let me know about it. You can reach me, email, Facebook, Instagram, @ScottMcGee12. Go, Ethan.
Wow. What an incredible story.
I know.
What an
Isn't he a
incredible
great kid?
That is.
I'm glad he didn't have this heat to run in.
No.
That,
Oh my
that would have made it
goodness.
impossible.
Yes.
Well,
He
maybe
may
not
not
for him.
I don't know.
Not for him.
You
He may have
know?
been the only one to finish.
Exactly.
Janine, and this is the place right here. This is where Ellen Brody was detoured on a very dark night. She'd never been here before. Headlights coming toward her. She doesn't see us very well. And that's what started this inexplicable and tragic chain of events that have affected so many people. It all started with a detour. 6 lives lost at this Valhalla Railroad crossing when a Metro North train T-boned an SUV that had driven onto the tracks. 5 men, all on their way home during the evening commute, were killed inside that train. 15 more people seriously injured.
Multiple injuries, trying to educate everybody down now.
The driver of the SUV, 49-year-old Ellen Brody, was killed instantly in the fiery explosion. Brody was on her way to Scarsdale via the Taconic Parkway when she was detoured by a head-on collision that sent traffic onto Commerce Street. When she arrived at this railroad crossing, an intersection she'd likely never used before, the railroad crossing gate came down on her SUV. Brody got out, walked to the back of the car and tried to free it from the crossing gate arm, then got back in, paused, and rolled forward. A process that took about 30 seconds, and that's when train 659, traveling at about 48 miles per hour, collided with the SUV, pushing it 1,000 feet down the tracks. 13 40-foot segments of the third rail entered the first car, causing most, if not all, of the deaths and serious injuries inside the train.
If the driver's seat is here, the third rail would have come in behind the driver's seat, sort of at an angle, and by the time it had come through the other side, it's now on top of the right rear tire.
Passengers then fled the burning train, most of them walking south into Valhalla, where they waited for a ride home, many not knowing the true seriousness of what happened until they turned on the evening news. And we are still waiting for that final NTSB report on this incident. But Ellen Brody was one of the people involved in this incident. There was another person, the man who was driving behind her. News 12's Tim Cassidy is one of the people who talked to him on that night. And Tim, you've got more on his story. You're watching News 12. I'm Scott McGee. Well, folks, do you remember this scene? That fire scorched Blauvelt State Park in Rockland County some 20 months ago. And then there was this. This was Ulster County just 2 months ago. Frankly, we got lucky we didn't lose any homes here. But according to the experts, the way we manage our forests, they are only fueling the fire. It was a scene that looked like it was right out of Hollywood. That's the one thing they got to worry about, is if this thing kicks up, if the wind kicks up, it takes off into the canopy of the trees. But this forest fire wasn't burning in some far-off corner of the Southwest. It was racing across Clousland Mountain in Rockland County.
Definitely scary.
Right at Adam Jordan's house.
It was like a ring of fire all around here.
He could only pull out his iPhone and hope.
You know, you couldn't sleep, and of course, my family living here is going crazy. They wanted to just like leave.
According to the Rockland County Sheriff, the fire started at a popular hangout spot for teenagers with a campfire at a place called Tappan Zee Rock. Now, it scorched about 400 acres of Blauvelt State Park and threatened a lot of homes. But it was pushed by cooler November winds, so it stayed low, never reaching the canopy of the trees. And now, 18 months later, you look at it, you'd never know it happened. But on the ground,
and ecologically speaking, it doesn't look like it did any damage. It wasn't an unusually intense fire.
Gabe Chapin is a forest ecologist for the Nature Conservancy. It's his job to monitor fire risk of state forests. It's a tricky job because there's something most people don't realize.
They depend on fire.
Only you.
Yes, while Smokey warned us about the dangers of forest fires, it's also true that most forests need to burn.
Because we've sort of taken fire out of this landscape in a lot of ways, we've allowed the fuel to accumulate on the forest floor. So when a fire does burn, in many cases it burns much hotter and is much more severe.
And this is what he's talking about.
Here's an area where you've got a lot of trees that have fallen down. You've got a lot of branches and leaf litter that's accumulated on the ground. Fire can really get a hold and be difficult to contain.
That's exactly what happened in Ulster County back in May. A stubborn wildfire scorched more than 2,000 acres of the Shawangum Ridge State Forest, threatening dozens of homes.
That burned very intensely.
But what about us in the Hudson Valley?
We've been really lucky that there really haven't been homes that have been destroyed recently from wildfires.
And it's Gabe Chapin's job to make sure our luck doesn't run out. Lighting fires that burn off that excess fuel on cool, calm days when there's little risk it will spread. The thing is,
people don't want to smell smoke in their backyard. They don't want to see that little bit of ash fall out.
But
there absolutely is a risk to doing nothing.
Adam Jordan has a reminder of that risk just a few feet from his house.
It is much more real when you're still seeing all the burn marks.
But he can also enjoy the real benefits of a fire. There is now a much lower chance of this area burning again. And remember that iPhone video? Well, sound from that recording is now part of this song by his band Glint, appropriately titled While You Sleep. But for the rest of us, while we sleep,
we're just increasing the likelihood that we're going to have more severe wildfires. And at some point we really could see homes burning down and some real destruction.
Well, while forest ecologists say a devastating wildfire is pretty unlikely right now, a lack of rain this summer already has the Hudson Valley listed as abnormally dry. You just never know what's going to happen.